I'm Melody Joy, and this is Melody Joy Quilts. I am a firm believer that inspiration can come from anywhere. Do you see this lovely tile floor? This is the classic Disney movie Lady and the Tramp, and this is the first night that Jim Deere and Darling have brought Lady home. And she wants to spend the night upstairs with them on the bed, and they keep trying to put her in the kitchen. Spoiler alert, she doesn't stay in the kitchen because nobody puts Lady in the kitchen. Anyhow, this whole movie is like a visual display of wonderfulness, but what I want to focus on is specifically this tile floor. To me, when I was watching this movie with my kids the other day, I'm like, this looks like a quilt pattern. This looks like a square and a square, not the economy block square and a square, but like a square and a square quilt pattern. So I came up with this quilt inspired by this tile floor. So it's super easy. I ran down to my local Walmart to get fabric. I spent $21 on fabric. Walmart has all the fabric in pre-cuts now. So 1 yard, 1.5 yard. I also got for the background of this quilt, this flannel, and I used an all over quilting pattern meander with this lovely aqua flannel, but the pattern is based off this tile floor. Let's go make it. Okay, so I cut these blocks to 3.5-inch squares, and then these are 3.5 by 3, so one side is shorter. But what we're gonna do is take the center block, which is 3.5-inch square, take one of our 3.5 by 3-inch pieces, and we're gonna lay one on either side. There did not seem to be a right or wrong side to these fabrics since they are solids. And we're just gonna piece this with a 1/4-inch seam. These are 3-inch by 8.5-inch. So these are gonna fit onto our other units here, and we're gonna sew these down the side. If you noticed, I have quite a bit of this blue fabric left because you don't need much. If you're just cutting the 3.5-inch squares, you're gonna end up with a lot extra that you don't need. I'm gonna just press this out. So now it looks like this. I'm gonna add another piece here on this other end. show you what one of these looks like. Okay, so this is the whole block. That's it, that's the whole block. Then you're just gonna add sashing strips, which are 3 by 8.5. And you're gonna add your sashing strips, and then you're gonna add the long sashing strips. So this is, again, what the quilt top looks like. So this is the block, and then you just have to add your sashing.
So this is 3.5 inches, 3.5 by 3, 3.5 by 3, 3 by 8.5, 3 by 8.5, and then you do 8.5 by 3 of the green, and then you add the dark green sashing.
So I made the first quilt. So I made the first quilt just with those colors, just like the tile floor, making the first baby quilt. But then I thought, what if I made some in other prints and colors? So it's the same exact block, right? So this is this right here. And what I did was I added this sashing. So on this one, you have the solid dark green sashing, but on this one, I added a colorful sashing. So regardless of how you want to do it, there's lots of ways you could put this together. This one is 3 by 3. So it's 3 blocks with the sashing strips in between. So this is the same thing. I've already added 1 sashing strip here, and then all you're gonna do is fold it over onto here. And now I'm just gonna sew down this side. And I'll press it towards the sashing.
I realized I needed to cut a few more of the 3-inch by 8.5-inch strips to be the sides of the block. So I'm just cutting here with the fabric 3 inches, and then I will subcut it down to 8.5 by 3.
I'm just gonna subcut these 3-inch strips to 8.5 because that's what I need.
I'm gonna do the same exact cuts on this dark green fun little printed fabric. I actually, on this second quilt that I made with the prints, I used the same color for the middle block and the sashing. On the first little quilt that I made, I did blue, aqua, and green really to try to match that tile floor, which was my inspiration. But now for this bright colored one with the prints, I'm just using two fabrics, a light and a dark.
So we're gonna keep on assembling our blocks. So I think I have 1 row all the way done. So this one has the 4 sashing strips and 3 blocks. So that row is already done. These blocks are almost done, but I think I had run out of this size strip. So what I'm gonna do is take one of these little blocks here and one of these strips, and we're gonna put these together. These are just such bright, happy colors. Snip these apart here, and we're gonna iron these out. show you. This block is the same as this block. One of them I did all in solids and one of them I did in prints, but you can do it either way. It's gonna be the same measurements. Okay, so this is your entire block. This is the block. Now all you have to do is add sashing. So here, this row is already almost done. I need to add one more block and one more sashing to this row. So I'm gonna take one block and one piece of sashing, and this is all I need to complete this row. Is gonna be this block here. So I am going to add it on, and I like to add it on the side that has the multiple seams. I feel like this will help keep everything more square as we go. Next, all I'm gonna do is press this towards the sashing so that I have something that looks like this. And then I'm gonna add it onto this. So here I have 2 blocks and 3 pieces of sashing. And now I have one more block and one more piece of sashing. And I'm gonna add this on the end here. I'm gonna iron this. Okay, so this is our entire row, because this is for a baby quilt. So 3 blocks and 4 pieces of sashing. And I have here also the same thing, 3 blocks with 4 pieces of sashing. So now I'm gonna take, this is a piece of the fabric that is 3 inches by width of fabric. And it's actually going to be longer than what we need. But I need to first iron out this crease in the middle here. So let me just give that a little press where it came off that way. And all I'm gonna do is use my scissors to trim off this little selvage end here, because I don't need that, okay? So now I'm gonna take this piece, and this is going to be what I'm going to use here, okay? So I'm gonna put this in between my rows here, and I can trim this up more later, but for right now I'm just gonna eyeball it with scissors. Okay, so we're gonna take this long piece of sashing and we're gonna go down. So now I need to go ahead and press this one. So I'm going to press all of this. I'm gonna fold it back and press again, just to get it nice and flat. I love these colors so much. So once you've added a long sashing row, it should look something like this. Now, we need to add our next row in, and the first thing I'm gonna do is actually trim this up because it is a little bit uneven. So actually, I just want to trim this up a little before I put this row together. I think I will be happier if I do that. Okay, so some of these are kind of like sticking out over the edge here, like right here. Let me just kind of like trim that up a little bit. It's not much, these little pieces, but still, it's gonna help us when we go to put this next side on, if that is all pretty much even Stevens. Okay, let me just kind of like, okay, feeling better about that. Okay, so for this next part, this is where you may want to get some pins out, okay? So what I'm gonna do is, so if you have this laying down right here, okay, we want to line this up, what we want to make sure is that this line and this line and this line and this line are matching, okay? So it's not so much about matching the edges, it's about matching here. So when I flip this over, what I want to do is make sure that this part is lining up here, okay? Because this is gonna matter for making everything else match up. So once you've double checked that, pin, okay? And then when you come over here, you can kind of lift and check that this is lining up from here to here and put a pin in here, because that's really where you want to make sure it matches. Same thing here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lift this up and I'm gonna pull it back and check that these are lining up. And as long as that is actually lining up there, then I'm gonna put a pin. And I'm gonna come down here to the end, and same thing, I wanna double check on this one that I'm having a good match here. Then I'm gonna put a pin in right about, put a pin in here. Okay. This should give us better matching. Let's check it. Let's see how we did. Okay, so I'm gonna take these pins out. And you can use as many pins as you feel like you need to make it work. I want to iron it towards the sashing, so I'm going to put it this way, so when I flip it over, it'll iron it towards the sashing. Okay. Let's see. Okay, that's looking pretty good. It's giving it a good press. Oh, I love it. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Okay, so that's the method that I used for this whole quilt. And I think I got a pretty good match here because it is very geometric. So you want it to match up. You want your rows to match up so that everything looks very geometric. But that's basically the pattern. And again, for this one, what I did is I just made a baby size quilt. I think this would be great for like a tummy time quilt. It is just 12 blocks, 3x4. And I had gotten this flannel for the back, and so it's very soft, very kid friendly. I hope you make it. I hope you enjoy it. Happy quilting.